What's going on YouTube? So of course, when it comes to popular vehicles, the Honda CR-V is one of the most popular vehicles out there, period, and it is Honda's most popular model. That means every time they make any changes to this, it is very important, and we're with the latest 2026 model, which has some refreshed elements this year. This is also the fully loaded Sport Touring. So let's go ahead and jump right in and see what they're bringing to the table with this top-end trim. Now, like always, we like to kick things off with a quick spec dump right from the start here. The powertrains are unchanged for the 2026 CR-V, meaning that about half of your trims come standard with this two-motor hybrid system. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors, making a combined power of 204 horsepower.
Now, as far as the base price for the CR-V, that's $31,000 this year. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on in this review, we'll be taking it out for a spin so you can see what that's like. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and at the end discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood so that we can talk about all the updates across the entire model line and how that stacks up against the RAV4. Now, first of all, we need to take a look at the exterior design. As is typical with Honda, they don't really change a whole lot when it comes to the refresh models. So up here in the front, you're going to continue to find a gloss black finish to the grille on the Sport Touring, as well as the other upper end trim levels. And then down here in your lower fascia, you have some matte trim. You also have a little bit of a dark silver accent, and then you've got these areas here which don't actually have fog lights inside because fog lights are not available on the CR-V. Now, in terms of your lighting, you have standard full LED headlights across the entire range. These are reflector LEDs. You also have your daytime running light and turn signal indicator right there across the top. Now, moving on to the wheels, Honda has refreshed a lot of the lineup's wheel options. However, that actually doesn't apply to the Sport Touring. This is one of the only trims that has the same wheel as before. It's a 19-inch gloss black alloy. This is the largest size that you can get in the trim structure, and I think it looks quite nice, especially against the sharp white paint on today's tester. There's just a little bit of cladding around the sides there. And then in terms of our mirrors, you've got a gloss black finish on board. Of course, most of your models have blind spot monitoring and heating, except for that very base LX trim.
Now, at the side of the refreshed CR-V, not much is going to change here, so overall vehicle length comes in at 184.8 inches. Now, as far as some refreshed design elements, all of the hybrid models are now going to have blacked out window surrounds. So I think that looks really especially good here if you choose the white paint color, all the black accents. It looks very handsome. Now, as far as the roof rails, those are also going to be finished in a gloss black up top. And I do want to point out there is a new trim level for 2026. That's the Trail Sport model. We do actually have a full video on the channel. You can go ahead and check that out now on the Trail Sport model if you're interested in that. But that's also going to add an exclusive green paint color as well. Now, as we head around to the rear design of this CR-V, you're going to have that, once again, a very tasteful and elegant look to this model. It's not drastically different for the refresh or anything like that. So that means you have a spoiler up top, we have a wiper, all-wheel drive branding, and then as far as the taillights are concerned, these are going to be really nice taillight units. So as you can see, they have a really large design, LED brake light, LED reverse light. However, the turn signal is still going to be incandescent for 2026 model year. Now, all of your branding, besides for this Honda badge, is going to be blacked out. That's because all the sport models now have blacked out branding. In the lower fascia, we have a pretty aggressive one, exposed exhaust outlets, and as far as your tow rating, it's 1,500 pounds if you choose a gas model. If you go for a hybrid like this one, it's 1,000 pounds. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, Honda gives you all of those as standard equipment. That will even include things like adaptive cruise control with a traffic jam assist. But the Sport Touring has all the features that you can get on a CR-V on the inside, and it also has some new features this year. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. All right, now let's move to the interior. Here's our key fob. Typical Honda key fob, kind of small and compact. You have smart entry as well as remote start on all but the base LX trim. And getting inside the vehicle, just reach behind the handle and that will unlock the door. Now, taking a look at the interior, just like with the exterior, we see some subtle differences, and I'll point out what is new on the inside once we get inside. But first, I want to talk about the seats. So several of the trims, the EXL, the Sport L, and the Sport Touring will come with real leather seats. That's what you see today. You can get full black, or you can get this two-tone finish, which is my personal favorite. We've got the gray in the middle and the black on the outside edges. Overall quality of this, quite nice. Good size bolsters as well. And of course, you have power adjustment, 10 ways in this case with 2-way lumbar support. Memory seats are located right there on the door trim. And let's climb on inside. And feeling around on the cabin materials, we've got leatherette through here with a stitching detail, all soft touch plastic through this section of the door trim, and then some gloss black accenting. As we move to the upper dashboard, all of this is a soft touch plastic, more of the gloss black through here with the single Honda vent. And then down through the center section, they're not adding any leatherette padding through here, but everything is extremely solid, which is what we expect from the Honda brand. Now, I'll fire it up with the push button start. That's standard on every trim. With it all fired up, we can take a look at some of the new features. This is one of them right here, is our gauge cluster. So we've got the 10.2-inch full digital cluster. Previously, all you could get is the half digital cluster, and this is standard on a Trail Sport and above. As you can see, you can customize some of the different things you want over here on the side. Just be aware that even this fully loaded model does not have an available head-up display. Some of the competition is certainly offering that at this point, but it does have rain-sensing wipers on this top trim. Of course, you got the leather-wrapped steering wheel, and this and the Trail Sport also give you the heated steering wheel. Now, turning our attention to interior storage, very strong area of the CR-V. You can see inside, we've got a very deep console here. Nice felt lining down there at the bottom as well. We don't have our donuts with us today because we're in Southern California, so there's a limit to how much we can bring with us for sure. But this will continue to be one of the very largest consoles you can get in this entire segment. Furthermore, we've got 2 cup holders there, large storage cubby up in the front, and the nice thing I want to point out is over here on the left-hand side, this wireless phone charging pad is now standard on every trim, even the LX. No crazy digital shifter or anything like that, just a physical style here. When we go into reverse though, we do not have a 360 camera, so this is just a regular backup camera. This comes on all the different trim levels. You can switch between 3 different views, but the overall resolution is pretty grainy, and certainly most of the competition does have an available 360 camera. Over here we've got our drive mode controls, and we also have an electronic parking brake with brake hold. Up top, we've got our climate controls. They're dual zone automatic across the entire lineup. Good physical controls through there. Most models also come with heated seats. Ventilated seats, though, are not available on this CR-V still. And then, as we kind of move up to this area, let's talk a little bit about technology. So, in the CR-V model, you already had a 9-inch display on your top trims. Now the 9-inch display is standard across all of the trims for 2026, but kind of elevating this trim above the rest of the trims is the fact that this comes with Google built in. So you'll notice that even though I currently don't have my phone paired, what we have is Google Maps right here natively into the system itself. Again, this is just on the Sport Touring, but it gives you kind of the most advanced software. You have way more functionality on board, such as Assistant, Alexa, all this stuff. Of course, you have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well if you want that. But this just certainly gives you access to a lot more different kinds of information, including things like how your hybrid system is performing. Also integrated in this area, you have a volume knob for your audio system. This is a 12-speaker Bose sound system on the top trim. It has not changed for 2026. Up top here, we've got an auto-dimming mirror. You don't have the HomeLink universal remotes. You have MyQ, which is kind of built into the system, but it might require a subscription. And then up at the very top here, I'll open up the sunroof. This is the standard size sunroof. This is included on most of the trim levels. Just be aware that on the top trim, you do not have the option of a panoramic sunroof.
And now it's time to discuss the rear seats of the CR-V. Now in the fully loaded Sport Touring trim level, this is going to be the nicest rear seat you can get. And indeed, it is very nice in a lot of aspects. First of all, let's talk about space. 41 inches of legroom, 38.2 inches of headroom. Those are really fantastic figures, guys, when it comes to rear space in this segment. It's going to be the largest, or at least one of the very largest options in the entire segment. So very impressive stuff. Of course, I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9" for reference. And look at that. We are sitting at a little over 9 inches of knee room. That is fantastic. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. And that's not all, because these seats are highly customizable. They have 8 modes of recline. You can go all the way back to this level, and that's really just going to increase your comfort so much. It's going to be a very, very nice rear seat. On the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside. And if you look at the center area, you'll find 2 vents, 2 USB ports as well. But one thing you will find missing here on the Sport Touring model that a lot of the rivals are including at this point is heated back seats. That's still not offered. So yes, there are definitely some features that are missing on the Sport Touring model as compared to some of the fully loaded competition. Now over on the door trim, hard touch upper part, hard touch in the middle, leatherette on the armrest portion, and there's also quite a lot of door storage. Now walking up to the tailgate, you're going to have a Power 1 on a lot of different trim levels. However, if you choose the Sport Touring, you'll also have the hands-free function as well. So if you like that, you'll have to go for this fully loaded example. Now, as far as the cargo space is concerned, we're sitting at 39 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If we fold those seats down, 76.5 cubic feet. So those are really impressive space figures. And by the way, if you are cross-shopping, perhaps the CR-V against many of its numerous rivals in the compact SUV segment, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, the reason you do that is because on our website, we've gone through, reviewed all of them, and ranked them in individual categories like cargo space, technology, powertrain choices, reliability, resale value, all of those things, and you can see what might be your best option depending on what matters most to you. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, I will just go ahead and tell you that this is the largest option in the segment when it comes to cargo capacity as of now, so that's very good. The seats fold 60-40 split. In order to fold them, though, I do have to use these handles. It's kind of hard to do, so that's just something to keep in mind. And when I do fold those seats down, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a lump in the floor. Let me go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures as well. So as far as cargo length, behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, 75 inches is what you can expect. Behind the second row, about 30 inches. As far as opening, that's really good, 43 inches wide. And then as far as height, that comes in at 32 inches tall. Those are really all fantastic figures. Overall, load and height is also sitting at about 28 inches of height. There is no spare tire on the hybrid versions of the CR-V. If you get the gas ones, you will have a spare tire, though. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the refreshed Honda CR-V Sport Touring. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading. But first of all, we need to start with a hard acceleration.
All right, and there we are quickly accelerating up to 60 miles per hour. Now, when it comes to the Sport Touring model, this is one of the trims that comes standard with a hybrid system. So just to remind you guys again, you have a 1.5 liter turbocharged gasoline engine. That's really reserved for your lower trim levels, and then all your upper trim levels are going to be the hybrid exclusive trims. So this is Honda's 2-motor hybrid system. It's unchanged for 2026. So it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors. Total power, 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. So quite the step up from the 190 horsepower that you get on the standard gas engine.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, I think the torque is what you're going to notice the most with this model. 247 pound-feet with that all-electric, just off-the-line torque really feels a lot faster than something like the traditional gas model.
Yeah, I mean, it's not overly fast, of course, but definitely plenty of pep compared to, what is average in this segment for sure.
Yeah. Now, as far as your transmissions are concerned, we have a CVT on the traditional gas end or an eCVT-like transmission here with the hybrid models. Overall response, as you can see from that acceleration there, is very quick. I mean, we've been driving around the CR-V all afternoon, and I haven't found myself in a position where I'm like really wanting for power. It's a nice and responsive setup for sure. Alrighty, and we are speeding up to 55 miles per hour so we can get things like our sound level reading. See how quiet it is. 57.8 decibels is what we are sitting at as our official sound level reading before we had to start slowing down here for this red light. Overall, that is a pretty decent sound level reading, but we don't have to sit here and guess. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, I do want to point out that's not like the quietest compact SUV we've tested out. However, the thing worth noting is that we are here in Southern California, as we mentioned earlier, and the road surfacing normally is a little bit louder here, so we are going to have to officially wait until we get one of these back home in Kentucky so we can get you that official number, but I think that's a pretty good reference point, and from what I know from previous Honda products, the Sport Touring typically will add in a little bit more sound insulation than some of the lower trim levels, and I think that's the case. Just kind of riding along here today, it seems a little bit more quiet and refined inside this cabin on the fully loaded example. All right, and let's also discuss ride quality for the Sport Touring CR-V. Now, we've been driving around CR-Vs all day long, and that has really just kind of confirmed in my mind that this is a very good riding vehicle. As you hit bumps in the road, it does a great job of soaking it up and really not letting a ton of intrusion inside the cabin. Now, we do have the largest wheels here with the Sport Touring, and I'm happy to tell you I don't think that negatively impacts your ride that much at all, so you're not paying a huge penalty for that. Maybe ever so slightly, but not a big penalty. And one of the things I really do like about this model is these seats. These seats I find to be really comfortable. They're nice and plush, so I think you're going to be very happy taking this on long family road trips.
Now, a new feature to the Sport Touring is the individual drive mode. This allows you to customize basically a combination of things that you like. There's not an overwhelming number of choices, but you can basically, on these three, choose between a normal and a sport mode. And then the powertrain, you also have an econ mode. So you've got econ, normal, and sport. And that just allows you to be able to, make your custom combination where you can have, say you like the more aggressive response of the sport powertrain, but you want the steering to be lighter when you're parking. You can do that now with this Sport Touring.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice improvement. And then also new for 2026 is they said that they have altered the all-wheel drive traction system at speeds of under 9 miles per hour. So they have kind of improved that on the lower end for this 2026 CR-V model. Now, I also want to take a second to discuss fuel economy for this model. So we are sitting at 40 mpg with the front-wheel drive hybrid. That's the best you can get this hybrid with all-wheel drive, which, by the way, all-wheel drive is standard equipment on the Trail Sport and the Sport Touring. So if you get the fully loaded example, you're going to have all-wheel drive. That comes in at 37 mpg. Compared to the gasoline options, that's quite a bit of an improvement. 30 and 29 is what those are sitting at. So quite a good fuel economy boost, that's for sure. And I do want to point out, though, that that is a little bit less than what we are expecting the all-new 2026 RAV4 to include. That model is already sitting at around 40 mpg in the current generation. We are expecting that to only increase for the 2026 all-new version.
Now, I don't have a lot of canyons or anything to carve right here in town, but I do want to take a second to just mention the driving dynamics. Honda really pays more attention to this than most of their competition. This chassis has a really nice balance to it overall. I particularly, like the steering, which has good fast response, a decent amount of fuel, but it's not overly heavy as to impact your, day-to-day driving.
Yeah, I think they really have struck a great balance. The Mazda CX-50 has, of course, good dynamics, but it's a little bit harsh in the ride quality. This vehicle kind of gets the best of both worlds, if you ask me. And now it's time to talk about our airball and slam dunk, which is our least favorite and favorite element. Drew, kick us off with the slam dunk on this 26 CRV.
We're going to say the slam dunk is the space. This vehicle is still just a champion of space. Really kind of nearly dominates the segment. Some of the rivals, they're starting to catch up, but still Honda has got the packaging edge for sure. They're just so good at putting so much space into a body that's the same size basically as all the competition.
Yeah. On the airball side of things, we really wish, yes, we appreciate the 26 updates like the Google built in. That's certainly very nice on this model, but especially here on the Sport Touring, we really are disappointed that they didn't add some of the features that people have been requesting for ever since this generation came out. Ventilated front seats, the head-up display, the 360 camera, a panoramic moonroof, heated back seats. Those are all things that are missing on the Sport Touring CRV. It's actually not available at all in the CRV lineup. So I wish they had maybe added an Elite trim level and threw all those features in, but something that a lot of the competitions have, this does not. So if that matters to you, that's going to be a big con. Now, as far as the CRV's pricing, we start at around $31,000 for the base LX model. If you choose this Sport Touring, of course, it's going to cost quite a bit more. So $42,250 is our starting price this year. We have the optional paint as well as destination charge. I don't know why that's not on there, but $42,705 is what we're looking at for this model as tested today. So that's, of course, the highest priced CRV that you can get in the lineup. And if you're looking to buy a CRV or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, including our monthly payment tool, we'd encourage you to follow the link in the video description as well as the pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Honda CRV's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 64.8% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 34.3%. Now, it's worth noting those are very good resale value percentages. It's actually the very best across every vehicle brand in that 5-year metric, so that is certainly quite the accomplishment.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several trustworthy sources of reliability studies and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. When we take into account our latest 2025 data, as you can see, Honda is one of the top-rated brands overall compared to other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability information, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have Honda's Signature Warranty, which is a 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain. The hybrid battery is also warranted for 10 years and 150,000 miles, and you do get complimentary maintenance, but it's for 1 year and 12,000 miles. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the refreshed 2026 Honda CRV Sport Touring and its fully loaded trim level. If you enjoyed watching this video, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun content on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.